Well, hello there. Welcome back. It's April. I have an amazing guest that I have been wanting to share with you. Her name is Kem Thomas Lutz. And let me just tell you a little bit about her. She's just a phenomenal woman. She is a professional interviewer who asks life's deep questions. She is an inspirational public speaker and the visionary founder of Bridging Generations, Keepsakes videos, and Hearing Heart Circles. She is a interviewer, a facilitator, and she loves to preserve the life, love, and legacy of individuals, families, special events, organizations, nonprofits, you name it. Really, her mission is to help people to overcome the common challenges of feeling unfulfilled and questioning the meaning of it all. Her desire is to help people to see and be who they are. You can certainly learn more about her at her website at touchinglives.be, and that's spelled B-E. So, without further ado, Kim is going to be sharing with us a little bit more about what it means to be. This is all about how you're showing up in the world and how that dramatically impacts your level of success, your level of happiness, your level of connection with the people that you love, and even if you own a business, your customers, and also your level of prosperity. So, without further ado, Kim, thank you for joining us. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you, April. This feels so different to be on the other side of the table. Oh my goodness, I realize what my customers feel now.
I
Mhm.
bet. Well, just dive in. Tell us just a little bit about your background and what inspired you to start interviewing people.
Well, as a young person, I grew up on a farm and always wanted to travel the world, always. And so when I graduated from college, I went to Europe and lived in Germany for 9 months. And my big takeaway from that was people are people all around the world, and they all have the same desire to be loved and accepted. And so I learned to ask the question, what is God's dream for you? And I would ask that through all my travels. For over 50 years, I've traveled and asked that question. And it comes down to who are they really? Most people don't know. 85% of the people have no idea who they are. And I want to help them find who they are and how they can be who they are.
Absolutely. So why is it so important for people to understand who they really are?
Well, the Bible says we're God's masterpieces, his workmanship created for a purpose. So that means that we really need to know who we are and what we're about. And Shakespeare said, "Know thyself, and to thy own self be true." Well, that's it. That means we have to know. And if we know who we are and we're being who we are, we don't have to get all involved in all the drama of everyone else's life because our hands are full with living our own life, being and really being inspired by ourselves, enjoying ourselves, just loving life because we know what makes us happy.
Yes, yes. And I've heard it said, don't try to live somebody else's life or somebody else's thing. Be who you are and bring that into the world, which is such a powerful message to share with everyone, especially whether you're a business owner, a mom, or whatever.
Mhm. True. I
Hmm.
found that, especially if a person's being who they are, then they can let other people be who they are, and together they can work side by side because they don't have to try to do what the other person does.
Hmm. That is so true. And I could see how it helps to eliminate some conflicts and
Mhm.
communication gaps and things like that. You shared with me before we hopped on here that the path, what is the path to discovering who you are or how you're being, who you're being in the world? You said that there are 3 steps to that. Can you share the first step with us and kind of go a little bit more into detail around
Mhm.
that first step in discovering
Mhm.
who you are and really being that in the world?
true. And I wrote about that in depth in my book. It's Me, Myself, and You. And in that book, I described, first of all, you have to know who you are. You have to really dig deep. And I'm talking about knowing what your gifts are, what your talents are, what your strengths are, and what makes you happy. It took me, because I reared 4 children, it took me a while to stop and think, what do I like? And found out that I like waterfalls and dragonflies, and I like I like red, and I like bright colors, and just I like those things. I love the symphony. Those things I hadn't really known about myself. As I began to learn that, now I can enjoy myself more because I know what I like. We have to know that. Then, as we do, and I say this out of a lot of pain in my life, I could never figure out who I was. I knew who everybody else was around me because I practiced asking those questions, but knowing who I was
Mm.
such a pain.
Yeah.
I always felt like I didn't count, like everybody else is so important and I'm not. And now I'm beginning to understand that I am important. I can ask questions and smile.
Yeah, can you go a little bit deeper on that? You said this really came from your pain. It sounds like you turned your pain into purpose by spreading this message of being who you are with the world. What was the painful catalyst, an experience that you had? If you're comfortable just sharing just
Right, for
a little
sure.
bit about it that led you to an aha moment. What was the lesson or the aha moment? It was kind of like a tipping point where you said, okay, I need to discover who I am. Something specific that
Mhm.
happened.
Right. When I was a little girl, I was always full of ideas and very, very talkative. And my mother had 5 children and a farm to run. And I could not understand when I went running into her one day to tell her some big aha moment that I had in this big story. And right in the middle of it, before I got to the climax of my story, she turned around and walked away. And you know, she had her hands full. I understand that now. But at the time, it just made me feel like I wasn't important. Anything I had to say was not important. And that's the story I told myself. That was the aha moment. And I lived that life for centuries,
Mm.
believing I didn't count what I said was not important.
And what are some ways that it negatively impacted your life by not knowing who you are?
I became very mousy. My biggest dream of my heart that I've had ever since I was 10, I wouldn't tell anybody. I could feel myself, if anybody in any way acted like they didn't want to hear what I had to say, I just counted. I'm useless. I'm countless. Mhm.
Yeah. So, how does a person know, since we're on that first step of you have to know who you are, what are some telltale signs that are common for people that don't know who they are? How do you know? I mean, how do you know that you don't know who you are yet? What are the
Right,
signs? Are there 1 or 3 signs that you've
right.
seen in your, travels and maybe even from your own life?
There's not a security. You can tell they're flitting from subject to subject. They're always
Mhm.
looking for something else, and they don't seem as happy, as comfortable. They're always looking for the next big thing, and instead of establishing who they really are. A person that knows who they are walks with confidence. You can feel them walk in the room.
Wow. Wow. I think I know what you're talking about. I've experienced people like that before.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to step number 2. Step number 2 in what's the process for discovering who you are and being that? What would
Right,
be the
and so
next step?
you hit right on it because first of all, you have to know who you are, but then you have to be who you are. Once you discover who you are, then now it becomes a strategy, and I love to strategize with people about being who they are. So
Yeah.
what can well, I have actually 5 different businesses that have come from me being who I am, 5 different ways to express helping people be.
Yeah. So, become who you are. Is there a couple of strategies that you can use where now that somebody knows who they are, how do they be it? How do they act it out in real everyday life? They become it.
Right,
What does
right.
that look like? Yeah.
I stepped back, um, and really floated above myself and watched myself go into a room full of people and thought, now, how do I act normally? How am I? And I realized that the first thing I'm going to do is find somebody that looks lonely and go find them and just talk with them and find out who they are. So that's me. But how are you in a room full of people? Because your purpose, the reason why you're created is to help other people. So how do you? Some people cook meals, that's just who they are. Some people are going to babysit, and that's just who they are. Some people are going to create magnificent businesses and employ people because that's who they are. And it just flows, it comes naturally from them. There's no
Mhm.
effort to it. Mhm.
It seems like you would expend a lot of energy trying to be something that is not quite who you are. It takes a lot of effort to keep up that, call it like wearing a mask, where you're just trying to be who you think you should be and trying to fit in and get people to like you and do this thing over here because you think that's the next
Yes,
big thing instead of just doing your thing and being you. So it
you are so
probably feels
right.
like a relief.
Yes, that's so true. It is so true. And a lot of time when you ask, how do you know and how do you become? I spend a lot of quiet time in the mornings just listening to the spirit talk to me about what's next, what to do, because it, it's a path that we continue to walk, and we need to know steps to walk on. And I can't find them all myself, so I listen to the spirit talk. Mhm.
Right. I love that. All right, share with us what's the third step on becoming who you are.
Know who you are, be who you are, and then once you are who you are, like I'm fully Kim. I know Kim does not do accounting. I don't do math, and I don't I can organize, but I am just very good at asking questions. So I need someone around me that can do the books, someone that is a techie. I'm not a techie at all. So I need those people. And once I found out who I was, now I can go find them. And together we can become a puzzle piece for each other. We can hook up with each other and create the most beautiful picture.
So you're saying the third step is really to celebrate differences in other people and strategically look for aligning yourself,
Mhm.
friendships or employees or coworkers or whoever it is, with people who have the differences that they're different from you. So
That's
that
right.
yeah, so your life works in a like a well-oiled machine. I don't know how else to
That's
describe
right.
it. You probably
That's
got a
so
better way
good.
to describe it.
No, that's excellent because it's just the cogs in the wheel that just turn, because we all work together. And it's so counter what the culture is today. The culture is to find people just like you, and anybody that's different is not acceptable. But no, that's not true. It's just the exact opposite. Let's find people that are different because gosh, I live so many different lives because the people that are my friends are so different, and I can experience what they like to do and
Mhm.
their gifts and talents. Mhm.
Well, I wanna shift gears here just for a minute. Those are such great points. Just to recap, tell us the 3 steps just to recap, and then I want you to share your story around there's something that happened around your sister, which
Yeah.
you were discovering who you are and what you really wanted to be and do in the world. I want to
Mhm.
go down that path
Okay,
next.
wonderful. Well, the 3 steps are know who you are, be who you are, and celebrate the differences. So
Right.
those are
And
key. And
yes,
then
yes.
when you refer to my sister, I'm a twin, and, we've been twins for over 70 years now, and she always kept our age. But then one day I got a phone call, and she died.
Mm.
And that was hard
Yeah.
because we didn't live together. We were in different states, but we were so connected. I'd never experienced any sorrow that deep. And I think the thing that struck me so much at that point was that I missed her smile. I missed her face. I missed the movements of her hands and the way she'd tell stories. And she worked with my parents in their business. So she knew all Mother and Daddy's stories. When she died and was buried, I realized all those stories are completely gone.
Yeah.
They are no more. I can't describe it. They're just not there anymore. And I don't want anyone else that wants to preserve memories and smiles and laughter and jokes and stories to lose that. So I created a business called Bridging Generations to bridge the people together through videos. And I do video interviews and ask those questions so that people can tell their story and we don't ever have to lose them entirely.
Yes, yes. I have personally experienced Kim interviewing people like at like a leadership conference and events. She's just incredible. She's got a gift of being able to really create a safe space for people to just be real. And she can hear people's hearts. The cry of their hearts is what she says. She can explain more about that, but she has an ability to pull things out, stories and life lessons, and just really deep stuff out of people and capture it in a video interview online and also in person so she can capture those stories and memories and those interactions with people that you care about, and it may be someone that a senior that you love, or tell us a little bit about that. You know more about what you do around that.
Right. I created videos from 91 years old to 18-year-olds. And
Yes.
the 91-year-olds wanted to tell about their life and their love and their legacy. They wanted to tell about their values. They wanted to make sure the family got the ethics and the values that they wanted to pass on. So they told those stories. And then with the 18-year-old, we celebrated his graduation and we had grandmas talk to him and aunts and uncles talk to him. And we told him what would be important in life. And it's so interesting. I interviewed a lady who came out of World War II and came out of Germany and told her stories of her brothers and sisters actually going to Siberia and how hard it was at that time. I've interviewed people from all walks of life, and it's fascinating to hear what they say. And you don't have to have a big story because your story is for someone else. And I love to just
Mm.
dig in and pull out those gems that are in your life that someone else is going to hear. Because if you stop and think about it, my life has changed many, many times just on one sentence I heard from one interview or read in one book. And that's all we need to help each other
Oh,
grow and be.
yes, that's so big. When people have got such a depth and a breadth of knowledge and life experience to where one nugget of wisdom or a lesson learned that costs somebody big time can be life changing for sure. Yeah.
Mhm. So true.
Well, um, this has been such a pleasure to interview you. I am so grateful that you said yes to this because I believe in the work that you're doing, and it's going
Mhm.
to capturing these stories and connect and capturing wisdom from people, or whether you own a business or a senior or a bride or a groom or whatever. Maybe it's a child. They
Yes.
don't stay
Mhm.
little long.
That's true. Mhm.
Yes, yes. Well, where can our listeners find you online, and how can they support you or and your work?
So my website is touchinglives.b, and that's touchinglives.b. dot and BE. Instead of .com, it's BE. And that's how you can get in and you can see my the different aspects of what I do. In order to support me, my main source of income now that I love to do is the videos and their video keepsakes. And I love to give them as gifts. Love to, I did one for an older lady that passed away, and they played it at her memorial service. She was talking to the people about life. It was
Yes.
amazing to see. And so right now we're offering 20% off of some packages that we have, and each package is a little bit bigger. I don't know if you can see this or if we can. This is the card that I have, and we can put that up on the website or something.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'll pop your link below the video so they
Okay.
can see the packages
Mhm.
and learn more
Okay.
about on your website as
Right.
well. Underneath this video in the description on YouTube and in my email list and even in social media. That way you'll be able
Okay.
to access it
Mhm.
quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the packages range. They you can design your own, but they range from 97 to 500 and something and on, depending on what you wanna do. But, yes, that's the support. And just telling people about it, te and encouraging. I guess the real support is to encourage and listen to everyone else be who they are so that we can
Mhm.
all enhance each other's lives.
Yes, yes. Oh, I just love this. Is there any final thought or anything that you want to share with everyone that might be watching?
Just continue to ask the Spirit, "Who are you, and why are you God's masterpiece? What part of the puzzle do you play?" Mhm.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you for tuning in. I'm so glad that you stopped to listen
Mm.
and you got to meet Miss Kim. I just love her, and I hope you'll take the time and check out her packages or share it with a friend if it resonates with you. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
You. Bye-bye.